Good afternoon. It's November 23rd, 2010. I'm Barbara Pavone.
And I'm Kevin Gallagher. Tonight on Concordia News. The flu shot campaign is underway at Concordia.
A local teacher is fighting to keep art education alive.
And the province's honey harvest experiences a positive change.
This time last year, a media frenzy surrounded the H1N1 flu virus. Many felt the media blew the situation out of proportion. Now that flu season is here again, some worry the flu might not be taken seriously. Reporter Judith Jacques has that story.
It's flu season again. The doors opened today for the flu shot at Concordia's downtown health center. Around 600 patients get vaccinated annually at the clinic to prevent the flu.
It can put you out of order for a week or two, being in bed, cold sweats, and the whole thing. So it's a good shot to get if you want to stay healthy.
She says this year is an ordinary flu season, but what is not ordinary is the level of public skepticism. After what many say is a media circus around H1N1 virus last year, many students here on campus are distrustful of the shot.
I don't know. It makes me uncomfortable. I think I can handle the flu.
My wife is a little apprehensive about shots and things like that. Like, we didn't get our child vaccinated for anything, so I'd probably get heck at home if I did.
Flu controversy is still making headlines in local newspapers, but coverage has been muted compared to last year. The Senior Gazette science reporter Aaron Darfell says some people think the media cried wolf.
The news media contributed to the hysteria surrounding H1N1, but it's hard to be very skeptical when you speak with epidemiologists and doctors and they say this is very serious, this is very serious.
Last year, Darfell was at the front lines of the flu coverage. He says it is a difficult job reporting the threat of the flu without being too sensational.
It would almost be irresponsible as a journalist to say, this is nothing.
But on opening day, all is quiet at the flu clinic. Judith Jacques, Concordia News.
As many schools face tighter budgets, art programs are often first to be cut. One Pointe Claire teacher is taking action to keep creative expression alive in many budding young artists. Reporter Amira Elzamar joins us live in studio to tell us more. Amira.
Thanks, Kevin. I went to speak to two educators who feel that art needs a stronger presence in the current curriculum. The first was Linda Roach. She started an after-school arts program in the basement of St. Columba Church in Pointe Claire. She realized that her own children weren't getting enough art, so she decided to extend the class to all kids, where she talks about art history and lets them get their hands dirty in a new art project every week.
I started with my own kids, doing stuff at home, and then it made sense to offer it to other children at the same time and give them an opportunity to just express themselves without any kind of expectations or anything.
Montreal school boards have a duty to fulfill academic expectations before turning to artistic courses, but Linda Roach feels that much can be gained from being given opportunity to explore the arts.
Art is science. Art is, it's going to help them with their math. It's going to help them with everything, because at the end of the day, if they're able to do something that they're really proud of, it's going to give them the confidence to do other things.
Here at the Université du Québec à Montréal, education professor Kim Gromko encourages aspiring teachers to include art in their curriculum. Gromko argues that art needs a stronger presence in schools.
There are many debates about putting more French, more math, and every time we do that, we cut out the art. I think that what we need to do is more interdisciplinary programs where art can be a contributing factor to all disciplines and therefore put more art in. So definitely there's not enough at the moment.
Gromko argues that we need to provide children more opportunities to express themselves creatively because this will help develop necessary skills for the future.
Without art or sports or creative outlets, we're punishing our society, because for the future we want creative thinkers. We don't want people who can sit in rows and not think for themselves.
Parents hoping to provide their children with more opportunity for artistic expression should look beyond the everyday classroom. Instead, they can turn to after-school programs like Linda's art class. For Concordia News, this is Amira Elzamar.
A local radio station is doing its best to stay afloat in the face of growing costs and funding shortfalls. CKUT, McGill's campus and community radio station, ran a funding drive this October in an effort to fight the odds. Reporter Thomas Urbina joins us in studio to tell us more. So Tomas, what kind of challenges is CKUT facing?
Well, Barbara, this year has been special and not in a good way. The rent on its antenna space on top of Montreal went up, and the station was forced to buy a $5,000 backup transmitter, and more students than ever before opted out of the fee they paid to CKUT through the university, which cost the station about $20,000.
Wow, so how exactly is CKUT dealing with these issues?
Well, their funding drive had a goal. They wanted to raise $50,000, or about 1/8 of their annual operating budget. The drive ended on Halloween, and the station is saying they've raised $44,000. Of course, they say they are still accepting pledges and hope to reach their goal. Now, people who pledge $25 or more receive gifts like t-shirts and CDs, and those that donate $60 or more before the draw day are eligible for the grand prize draw. They're giving away a $500 cash prize, a year of beer, a spa package, or 4 round-trip tickets on Via Rail to anywhere between Montreal and Niagara Falls. The draw will be held on December 15th.
Wow, those sound like some great prizes, and that year of beer sounds pretty fantastic.
And how about those Via Rail tickets, huh? I think I could use a vacation.
So could I. Thanks, Tomas.
Thank you.
The beauty and talents of animals are often put on display, like at dog shows or horse jumping competitions. Well, this weekend in Montreal, an unusual Best in Show took place. Reporter Joy Grijalva has the story.
This is a female Alexandrian parakeet. It originally comes from the Far East and can be found in India and Afghanistan. It's just one of the many exotic birds here on display who are competing to be the best in show. John Serapa has been judging birds for 35 years.
Each exhibitor who shows these birds seriously, they spend a lot of time preparing the cages, training the birds. They know what I'm looking for, and they want their birds to display themselves to the best of their abilities while I'm judging them.
Many of the birds are for sale, but not all of them. Breeders bring their top stock and can't afford to sell their best birds if they want to win the big prize. Winning birds will get to take home a bag of food on the house. I asked Francine Raum why it is important for breeders to receive a ribbon.
Because they have their own satisfaction to say, well, I did a good job with my birds. And for others, it is very important because they want to become a judge.
Behind me, the judges are moving the top birds from each category, and by the end of the day, they will have selected the best overall bird in the show. Judges evaluate birds based on a number of points, including their size, color, posture, and feathering.
If you're breeding good quality birds, then the young that you're breeding is in demand, and you'll be able to sell your young much more readily, and in some cases you'll get more money for them when you do sell them.
The exhibition is open to the public, and Montrealers of any feather fancy will enjoy the different colors, sounds, and charms of the birds. For Concordia News, I'm Joy Grijalva.
And now, from birds to bees. Fall is harvest time for farmers across Quebec, but for local beekeepers, it has been a season of disappointment for the past several years. In 2009, honey production across the province decreased by 1/3. I recently went to Montreal to investigate this year's sweet harvest. The province's largest bee farm provided some encouraging news. Beekeeper Dennis Hirschfield is preparing to take a last look at his bees before putting them away for winter. Hirschfield has been a beekeeper at Intermiel Farm in Mirabel for 10 years. The bees are looking healthy, and so is this year's harvest.
Actually, it was very good this year. We're very thankful. Again, it all depends, first of all, the weather. If there's a lot of rain or it's very cold, the bees don't go out.
Because of the warm and dry summer of 2010, Hirschfield says he expects a significant increase in Intermiel's harvest compared to last year. According to Statistics Canada, honey production is up across the province after suffering a devastating loss of over 1 million pounds in 2009. Scientists have blamed the decrease on colony collapses caused by everything from pesticides to viruses. Hirschfield has his own idea of what happened.
There was a little flea, and a bee can have almost like 3-4 little fleas on her, and I will just suck up her life, her juice.
Whatever the cause, the price of honey has increased by 60% over the past 2 years. Eleanor Mackel is the daughter of Intermiel's owner. Today, she is selling the farm's honey at the Saveur et Tentation food fair in downtown Montreal. Although she is happy with this year's harvest, she told me there is a natural loss of bees every year.
After the winter season, usually we have 10, 15, 20% loss, mortality of beehives that are completely dead. 4 years ago, we lost about 35% of our population. our beehives. Yeah.
Back at Intermeow, beekeepers like Hirschfield are putting away their bees for winter and will have to wait until April to see how well their hives did.
Well, that's a great story, Barbara. Let's hope that honey prices go down. I can enjoy it on my morning bagel more readily.
One can only hope, Kevin. November is Prostate Cancer Awareness Month. Known as Movember, men are encouraged to grow a mustache and raise money for the cause. Kevin, I see you're taking part this year.
That's right, Barbara. And with 1 week left in Movember, let's be sure to support this hairy initiative. This year, the Canadian Cancer Society estimates that 4,300 men will die of prostate cancer. For more details on how to donate to a Movember team, please head to Movember.com.
Concordia Communications professor Matt Soar is on a mission. He is rescuing Montreal's unique business signs like those from Ben's, Monsieur Hot Dog, and Paramount. The signs are on permanent display in Concordia's Communications and Journalism building. Dr. Soar hopes to expand the exhibit in years to come.
It was an exciting weekend for Harry Potter fans. A Thursday night was the movie premiere of Part 1 of J.K. Rowling's 7th book. Nadia Pearson tells us more with our entertainment update. Nadia.
That's right, Harry Potter had its biggest opening weekend spell yet. The first part of the Deathly Hallows has made over $135 million in ticket sales. This film was considered by critics as more of a mood setter rather than the typical action-packed wizard movie. Fans were still satisfied, calling it on Twitter entertaining and a near-perfect adaptation of the book. The second half of Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows comes out July 15th of next year. From young wizards to young superstars, Justin Bieber performed at the Bell Center yesterday to over 20,000 screaming teen fans. He's certainly quite busy. This 16-year-old took away 4 titles at the American Music Awards on Sunday, including Artist of the Year. In local entertainment news, Concordia will be home to its own superstar. Journalism graduate student Jean-Philippe Marquis will be airing his own documentary as Concordia's first project for journalists for human rights. The film, entitled A Bed Silent Fight, begins today at 5:30 in the CJ building on Concordia's Loyola campus. Tickets are $3. And that's your entertainment update. I'm Nadia Pearson. Back to you, Kevin.
Thanks, Nadia. And now for sports. Two-time Grey Cup champion Brian Chu shocked the Alouettes organization and fans when he retired from the CFL this past summer. This was followed by a bigger surprise when he joined the Concordia Stingers coaching staff 2 weeks later as offensive coordinator. The 13-year veteran tells me the reasons behind his decision.
4 months ago, Brian Chu did not picture himself coaching for the Concordia Stingers.
That morning I woke up, I really had all intentions to report to training camp and be a part of the Alouettes this season.
But over the years, injuries have taken their toll on the 8-time All-Star. Chu hung up his cleats and turned his sights to another passion.
I've always wanted to be a coach. I've always liked the X's and O's of the game.
Brian's a natural coach. He has great communication skills. He's a great people person. He's a good family man. All of the qualities that will make him a great role model for aspiring young student athletes.
Stingers slot back and CFL prospect Liam Mahoney says he looks to Chu for professional guidance.
And he's kind of had a lot of good advice for me, things to work on, things that scouts are looking for.
To be able to give back everything I've learned as a professional to younger kids that aspire to be professionals, that's awesome.
After retirement, Brian Chu was offered coaching positions at several Canadian university programs and CFL teams. He also entertained offers for a TV analyst spot on TSN's weekly CFL panel. With all these opportunities on the table, what made Concordia the right fit?
My wife graduated from Concordia. My mother-in-law, father-in-law, brother-in-law, they're all Concordia grads. The biggest thing was just feeling that I could contribute to this program, and for Coach McGrath to give me this opportunity is amazing.
Chu is grateful to be involved in the sport he loves and still be close to home.
I have a 4-year-old son and a 1-year-old daughter, and all they ask is to have a healthy father, and it got to the point where I couldn't give them that anymore. And I couldn't even go play with them in the backyard. So at the end of the day, this decision was about my family.
When I spoke to Chu, the Stingers were hot and had won 2 of their first 3 games. But after a devastating loss in the last game of the season to Laval, the 4-5 Stingers were ousted from the playoffs for the first time in 10 years. But with all but 12 players returning to next year's roster, Chu and the rest of the Stingers coaching staff have reason to be hopeful for 2011.
Earlier this season, goaltender Carey Price was feeling the heat from Canadiens fans. He was performing poorly, but now he's ranked second in wins in the NHL. After weeks of booing, Habs fans seem to have found just the right Price. Concordia's Harpreet Grewal has that story.
With high expectations from last year's playoff success, young goaltender Carey Price has a lot on his plate this season. We asked the fans themselves what their take is on booing their own team.
You know, a lot of players, I feel a lot of players do not want to come here because of a lot of pressure the fans put on their players.
At the price that we pay our tickets, I think I don't agree totally with that. I don't do that, but I understand people that boo the players.
No, it's important to encourage him any way he plays. If he plays bad, it's our role as a supporter to always cheer him.
Playing for Montreal is not easy. Here at the Bell Centre, over 21,000 passionate fans fill up the arena every game. But what happens when things go wrong? Sports psychology consultant Angela Malorny tells us what motivates the fans to turn on their own team.
There's research when it comes to groups of people at sporting events and the emotional impact that people just being so many people gathered under one roof, emotions are heightened.
During the preseason, Price was booed for letting in too many goals. Malorny says the pressure is common in pro sports and there are coping strategies that many players use.
When this happens, we have kind of a physiological response to get frustrated. There's an emotional response there. We hear the stimuli coming in and there's a reaction there. In that moment, typically there's a boost in adrenaline, kind of like the fight or flight principle. So with that boost of adrenaline and energy, you can reframe it and kind of use that extra energy in a more productive way.
Productive would be an understatement. The Habs are 12-6-1 so far this season, and it seems both Price and the fans are channeling their energy towards the same goal, supporting their team and winning games. For Concordia News, I'm Harpreet Grewal.
And that's Concordia News for November 23rd, 2010. I'm Barbara Pavone.
And I'm Kevin Gallagher.
Good afternoon.
Stay classy, Montreal.